What's hiding underneath things can be scary. Underwater, under your bed, especially what's under your carpet. Except when you get new carpet from Carpet One Floor & Home. After tearing up your old carpet, they'll vacuum and apply Healthinex antimicrobial to your subfloor, disinfecting and killing mold, mildew, and any remaining general awfulness. Carpet One Floor & Home goes the extra mile to protect you, your family, and your home. Carpet One Floor & Home in Columbia, making your home beautiful, guaranteed.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Tuesday, March the 8th. We have the Assistant Director of MU Theater's production of War of the Worlds with us today. This is Les Gray. Good to have you here,
Thank you
Les.
for having me.
We were talking before we came on. I have been fascinated with the radio version of War of the Worlds for many, many years. How close are you portraying the radio version to what you have on stage?
I mean, pretty close. As I was telling you earlier, so our play is an adaptation of the radio play that is an adaptation of the novel by H.G. Wells.
Right.
So it's kind of in a really particular lineage. But yeah, so we're using the same text. The focus is more on the visual experience and instead of the audio experience, which is how the radio works.
Exactly. Now I just assume that everybody knows the story of War of the Worlds, but there may be some people out there who do not. So why don't you go ahead and explain it?
Yeah, so the 1938 broadcast that was orchestrated by Orson Welles was this interruption into just a lovely day-to-day broadcast in October. And it is an event wherein Martian invaders come to the Earth by way of the small town Grover's Mill, New Jersey. And as the play goes along, it's really the announcers and broadcasters, the scientists they go to for data, and just everyday citizens really trying to grapple with the reality of this invasion.
Yeah, and the way it was done was so authentic because you thought you were listening to the evening of dance music. I think it was in the Aragon Ballroom.
Yeah.
And then there's an interruption of a newscaster saying that aliens have landed in the small town of Groversville, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Then they go out and they're on remote. And it's just done so realistically. It did cause a panic.
Yeah.
It caused a panic, and people were running in the streets thinking we were being invaded by Mars.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen with your production? Do you feel that you are going to come across with that same sense of, are you coming across with that same sense of urgency? Or are you trying to perhaps take a little dig at misinformation that's going on right now?
Yeah. So one of the things that we talked about when we were first kind of considering the show for this season was the role of disinformation and its relationship to science fiction. And so part of what we're really trying to get at is the use of various medias, using green screens to depict one interview or set of circumstances and having it projected somewhere else, so that the audience are really getting conflicting narratives visually while these events are taking place.
It sounds really interesting. You open tomorrow?
Yes.
MU Theater, War of the Worlds, and you run when?
We run March 9th through the 13th. So we have 7:30 p.m. performances the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And the 12th and 13th, we have matinee performances.
Okay. I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you.
And I hope the message you're trying to get across comes across loud and clear.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Les. Pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Now, we're going to talk about the Most Policy Initiative. We have dealt with this before on the program. I want to introduce you to Brittany Whitley. Good to have you back again, Brittany.
Nice to be here. Thanks, Paul.
You wanted to deal today with Most Policy Initiative.
Right. So MOST, as a reminder, we're a nonpartisan nonprofit group that's trying to just get good research information to the hands of our lawmakers at the state capitol.
Now, let me just stop you right there. When you say good research information, What kind of information are you providing?
It's a great question. So we're providing non-advocacy kind of research-based, both in academic research and then also pulling on the expertise of members of in our community who have worked on certain
scientific
policy.
research?
Scientific research information. So not going in with an agenda or any sort of biases, just trying to say, does this policy work in other states that have done this policy? Is this likely to work in Missouri? Kind of trying to answer questions like that.
Mm-hmm. When you're doing this, what are you presenting currently in Jefferson City?
Right. So we provide what we call science notes. So they're these kind of short research briefs where we talk about the research. We also talk about the limitations. We talk about what we don't know, what the research doesn't tell us. And we try to touch on the trade-offs of different policies. So we provide these science notes, and then we can also actually show up to committee hearings and testify for informational purposes. So we don't go up and say, you need to vote for this bill or you can't vote for this bill, but rather we say, when you're thinking about voting for this bill, here's some of the research you might want to consider.
Do you approach the lawmakers yourself, or do they come to you?
So they come to us. We do a little bit of outreach to let them know that we're around, but everything that we write has to be done on request. So I don't get to pick a topic that I think is really cool and say, we're going to write about this and testify. A lawmaker has to call us and say, I want information about X topic. And actually, we just hit a really exciting landmark. We've received requests from 1/3 of the entire Missouri General Assembly as of February of 2022. So that means 1 in 3 lawmakers know who we are and have asked us for information in both parties.
So they have contacted you and asked for specific information. When they contact you and ask you for this information, do they set an agenda saying, we would like to find out if this, and this really is going to work? So do they set the agenda?
Usually what they'll say is, I have a bill on this topic. Can you write a note? And they leave it open. Some people might say, I'm hearing from my constituents that they're concerned about the economic impacts of this bill. And so in that case, we'll look at the economic impacts, but that won't be the only thing we look at. Mm-hmm. So we'll definitely take their guidance on what they're the most interested in, but we'll never, if somebody comes to us and says, I want you to help me draft my argument against this bill or for this bill, we won't do that. We want to make sure that they have all of the information so that they can make the best, most informed decision.
This is a pretty hot topic here. Has anybody come to you about the Medicaid expansion?
We have not actually worked on Medicaid expansion. And so this is something that we haven't received a request on.
You have not received
We have not received a request.
Now, why have you not received a request on that, do you wonder?
It's a really good question. I'm not sure. We are always, if somebody were to call me today with a request, we would help write one up. There are some topics that we can't quite figure out why nobody wants that information, but we're hoping as we grow, more people will know about us.
I mean, that's one of the most
involved.
important topics that we can deal with right now is Medicaid expansion. So no one has come to you about that.
We have done a lot of work on health issues, but nothing specific on Medicaid expansion.
All right. You know what? We're out of time for today, but I really appreciate the information that you're sharing and what you're doing. Hopefully, it is helping make Missouri a better state.
Thanks, Paul. We hope so too.
And please come back again.
Absolutely.
Okay? If people want more information, I guess they can just Google you.
Yes, mostpolicyinitiative.org is our website.
All right. Drop me an email, pepperp@missouri.edu. Bye-bye.